What's up, everyone? It's Wacko. Welcome you to week 8 of NGC season 17. This week we're up against Belgrande, who has one of the only teams that didn't use like their full budget. They had like 12 points left over, and you can see it's kind of crazy that like most of their team is just like low end high tier, and then like mid tiers, and then like a couple like really low tiers. Well, I think in NGC the only one that's like kind of low is Jolteon, because I think the rest of them are like somewhere in the mid tiers. But yeah, we got the infamous Life Orb Tear Ditto. We got Darkrai, Tyranitar, Mega Meganium, Empoleon, Donphan, Haxorus, Gallade, Chandelure, Heracross, and Jolteon. Um, for the most part, I feel like they've just been bringing like top 6 every week. I have seen like Chandelure, Heracross, Gallade every now and then. I don't think I've seen them use Jolteon or Haxorus like at all. Um, so I guess I don't really understand their like drafting style or like their play style. Also, their Empoleon has had like no offensive moves, like ever. Like I think I've seen it click Scald in like 2 games, but other than that, like it's like 4 moves. It's like 4 status moves and like nothing else. So it's very confusing. So with that said, honestly, the only mons I'm really scared of are the top 3, and just finding a way to break through Roost and Polion. I like to be able to two-shot those types of mons because, you know, you don't want to like let them spam Roost on you and like click status moves and like chip you down and shit. Like my philosophy is just try to kill them as fast as you can. Donphan's also a little bit annoying for my team too, I think, because a lot of my top end users or a lot of my top end mons are going to be physical this week, and my big special attacker Enamorus is not faster than Donphan. Um, but with that said, I am bringing in Enamorus, and I'm actually running Terra Fairy this week, which I don't think I've run Terra Fairy yet. Basically, the only reason I'm running Terra Fairy is because it's decent into Darkrai, T-Tar, and Meganium. So I figured I'd have a way to beat those, and then it also, like, it's decent into, like, Haxorus, Gallade, and Heracross. And I don't think it's, like, that big of a deal to be, like, a little bit weak to Empoleon, but, like, Empoleon's the only mon on that team that, like, would scare Namorous, and I'm not sure if Empoleon wants to slot Flash Cannon for Enamorous, because I feel like it's not going to stay on like an Iron Valiant usually, but yeah. But my set, I'm actually running Assault Vest with Moonblast, Draining Kiss, Sludge Bomb, and Focus Blast. So I had to carefully prep around that Ditto because I didn't want to set up with a Pokemon and then be like, oops, I can't kill my own Pokemon, basically. And they do run Terra Ditto. Sorry, they do run Life Orb on the Ditto like every week. Um, I didn't even prep for like a Scarf Ditto scenario. I prepped for a Life Orb Ditto, basically. Um, and honestly, he's been performing very well at that Ditto. Like, Life Orb Ditto, like somehow isn't that bad. um, it's definitely annoying, but yeah. But I'm running Assault Vest for the Darkrai and then Meganium because I don't have the best switch-ins to like either of them. Darkrai gets Thunderbolt for core. Like I could get Focus Blasted, I guess, on the Roaring Moon, or Ice Beamed. Um, Probably Ice Beam. Well, I don't know. Ice Beam hits Nidoqueen, but that's kind of it. Nidoqueen and Moon. It could Sludge Bomb. It could Psychic. Dark Pulse is pretty good into my team, other than like my top 3. Um, So yeah, I just ran Assault Vest Max Special Defense for both of those, and Terra Fairy is like a good enough boost to my Fairy Stab, as well as getting the base power boost on Draining Kiss. That Draining Kiss is like actually a reliable heal in this battle for sure. The only mon that it wouldn't heal up on that much is Empoleon, but Empoleon's not. I'm not really scared of the Empoleon like doing offensive things versus me. My next one's gonna be Iron Valiant running Expert Belt. I was gonna run Life Orb, but then I kind of realized that Expert Belt just kind of does everything I needed to. The only thing that I think Life Orb would have helped me with is Donphan, because I'm running Close Combat, Spirit Break, Throat Chop, and Poison Jab. The Throat Chop has a chance to kill Chandelure, I think, after a Spirit Break. And Spirit Break is just there so I don't have to, like, spam Close Combat, because if they do bring Chandelure, like, I don't want to just, like, whiff into it, basically. But if they don't bring Chandelure, then, like, Close Combat is, like, the move that I'm clicking most of the time, and then, yeah. I did consider running Vacuum Wave, but again, like, I wanted to run Poison Jab for the, Meganium. I guess, in theory, I could have done, like, Close Combat, Vacuum Wave, Poison Jab, Throat Chop. Maybe I didn't need a Fairy move here. I don't know, because then I'd have less for his, fighting types and his Dragon. So, I don't know. I'm sure it would have been fine regardless, but yeah. Vacuum Wave would have been for the Darkrai, but I kind of opted to not go for that, and I opted to go for the more defensive Enamorus instead. My next mon is going to be Corviknight, so yeah, Roaring Moon just is not going to see any play. Every time, guys, every time I draft this guy, he comes to like 3 games, and then never again. Well, it's not even like a bad mon, it's just like I didn't really know how to bring it. I think for me, bringing Roaring Moon was like hard to justify using on this team because like I have to bring an Amorous. Val is usually a little bit better in like most matchups. Because Val, like its coverage just hits everything a lot more, and it has a lot more options, both physical and special. I usually have to bring Corv and Rotom or Nidoqueen. Sometimes all 3 of them. Usually Ogerpon looks phenomenal with the Ivy Cudgel. Trying to get in Pyroar's usually a thing too, and then sometimes if I really need like that fat Psychic type, like I have to bring Uxie or Cress. And then I had that game where I brought Bruxish too. I see 2 Dark types and Empoleon though, so like yeah, Bruxish was not going to be on this pace. But Corviknight, Brave Bird, Body Press, U-Turn, Roost. No Defog because I would rather have my Defog on Rotom, who's also coming, because I feel like Rotom can handle Empoleon a little bit better than Corv. If the Empoleon is like somewhat offensive and outspeeds Corv, if I Defog, like I could be in serious like deep shit. Against competitive Empoleon. Like, competitive Empoleon is not something to take lightly. And I'm also running Akaberry just for the Fire-type Weather Ball for Meganium. Like, that's literally it. I could have run Rocky Helmet, but I was a little bit scared of Meganium going in because my prep against it, like, really wasn't there. So just having another mon that could switch in, or not even switch in, but like, I don't have to switch anything in it, I can just stay in and let my Akaberry do the work. My next one's going to be Nidoqueen. So my Nidoqueen is actually my check to both Enamorus and my own Iron Valiant. It's like, actually the only reason I brought Nidoqueen, is to be a Ditto check for Enamorus and Val, because on both my Enamorus and my Val, I'm not running any moves that can... I actually can't hit my Nidoqueen, like, neutrally with anything except for Throat Chop on Val. Because if you remember, I ran Close Combat, Throat Chop, Spirit Break, and Poison Jab. The only move that hits Nidoqueen neutrally is Throat Chop, and I think Close Combat just does more. So yeah, Nidoqueen is there basically just for those, and then also I guess getting up rocks is nice because um, after dropping Uxie, like Nidoqueen is my only rocker. I do have spikes with Ogerpon still, but I don't think I've considered running spikes on Ogerpon yet this season. Um, it's just been kind of like a keep hazards off. My hazard game is not very good with this team. I'm not gonna lie. And then my next mod is gonna be Rotom Wash running I think like almost max speed and max HP with Hydro Pump, Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, and Defog. So it is my Defogger. Although I kind of realized that if Corv has Body Press, like I don't think I should have been that scared of Empoleon anyways. So I probably could have just run Defog Corv and brought a different mon over Rotom. But Rotom is okay into like both Empoleon and Donphan. And I guess it's decent at beating my Corviknight if Ditto transforms into it. So yeah, there's that. And my last one's gonna be Mega Pyroar. There is a Tyranitar, but Mega Pyroar, like outside of Tyranitar, kind of just one shots everything. It can even almost one shot Empoleon, which is crazy. Um, but I'm running Overheat, Flamethrower, Scorching Sands, and Will-O-Wisp, so I am going to be able to Will-O-Wisp that T-Tar. And if they bring Chandelure, then I can hit it with Scorching Sands, whereas Chandelure doesn't really get anything for Pyroar. So Pyroar is actually kind of my Chandelure check. But I didn't think Shandy would come into potential Roaring Moon. I don't think Roaring Moon's, excuse me, I don't think its matchup was bad. I just really couldn't slot it. So with that said, um, there we go. So they are going to bring the Ditto, Darkrai, Donphan, T-Tar, Mega Meganium, and Empoleon, which I think I spoilered on accident, but they will bring those. So yeah, again, their low tiers just did not come, which is okay with me because this is basically what I prepped for. I gotta say, prepping for Meganium is like a lot harder than it should be. He's gonna get up rocks. I think it's because Meganium, like, having no drawback on its grass move being Solar Beam, having a fire coverage move, but also Earth Power. In the cases where it has to run Earth Power, like Pheasantipity, I think is a good example of like wanting to run Earth Power, like maybe Okidogi. I don't know, just like fat poisons that would want to wall it. It can Earth Power those. And then you have fucking Fire type Weather Ball for like the Steel Flyings that would wall Dual Stab and Earth Power. So like Meganium kind of has like all the coverage it fucking needs. Low key, I don't think there's really anything that can just resist what it does, and everything that it does hits very hard. I guess Earth Power is like your safest bet for like. I guess you have to answer it with like poison types, but yeah, it has a lot of shit going on. So he's going to Imposter Ditto on my Defog, which is like whatever. I actually don't have a switch into my own Rotom Wash, so that was kind of an oversight with my prep. I potentially, honestly, could have maybe not run Hydro Pump, and I could have maybe went Queen, um, but I ran Hydro Pump. It would have been really funny though if I didn't have Pump and I ran like Wisp with dual electric moves. But then his Donphan would just come in. I mean, Donphan coming in wouldn't be that bad because I don't know. I could definitely run like Toxic Gun, probably, and then just switch into Queen. I should have considered that. That would have been funny. Anyways, they're gonna go into Meganium here as I Volt Switch into Pyroar. So I kind of debated on with whether I wanted to Mega Evolve Pyroar or if I wanted to Terra the Enamorus, but I figured Pyroar puts a little bit more pressure on him, and I can kind of force in the T-Tar to Wisp it, so now T-Tar isn't like a big problem for later. Not that it matters too much because I do have Corv, but putting a little bit less pressure on Corv is good for me because Corv into like most of his team looks very solid right now. I'm going to U-turn, see that he's Rocky Helmet on the Donphan. Pyro's going to come back in. And I believe here I'm just going to overheat 16% from overheat. And I'm pretty sure... No, I'm timid. Because I had to outspeed that Darkrai. Yeah, this is like a very Assault Vest Tyranitar for sure. I'm just going to go into my Corv though. He's going to knock my Aqua Berry, which is, I think, fine. They're going to go switch into Empoleon on my Roost. And then I will Body Press. So I did kind of calc for Body Press to be able to two-shot, but for some reason I think I forgot about leftovers, so there's that. But at the same time, like, I'm forcing him to spam Roost, so I kind of don't mind this at all. And then Donphan comes in, Donphan gets chipped, and the more chip that Donphan takes, the better, I think. He's gonna double into the Ditto. T-Bolt isn't gonna knock me out, but I will be able to defog, which is what I wanted. And then because he's Life Orb Ditto, I'm able to speed tie him, get some chip. Hydro Pump will knock me out. I don't know why he clicked Hydro. I feel like I personally would have just clicked T-Bolt again because I don't know. I don't think I'd ever go Nidoqueen there. Yeah, they're gonna Volt Switch on my Enamorus. Yeah, as you can see, my Enamorus is like very specially defensive, and that Draining Kiss did like kind of nothing to that T-Tar. I don't want my Enam getting like super chipped down though, so I am just going to switch in my Corv, and then I can U-turn. Goodbye T-Tar. So now Pyroar is looking a lot better. Now that that's gone, I do miss Focus Blast, but it's like whatever. He is gonna Roost as I Focus Blast again. That does a lot of damage. See, if I just landed the fucking Focus Blast the first time... Oh no, he wouldn't have been dead. He would have been close. But it would have been like a Force Roost, and then I could switch like straight into Val and pressure with Val. Focus Blast is awful. In all honesty, I want to run Earth Power, but I kind of didn't want to hit my own Nidoqueen. So I was like, Focus Blast it is. Hopefully I'll never have to run Focus Blast on Enam again. Maybe unless Belgron makes it to playoffs, because I really like this team that I brought against him. He also tried using Hypnosis against me. And he will red card, which is an interesting thing that happened. I am going to switch into Corv on the Hypnosis. Corv actually really doesn't do anything for me. He is going to go into Ditto, which is unfortunate because I was trying to switch out here. Oh, and I ran Unnerve on purpose in case he was Shoppleberry on the T-Tar for whatever reason. So I feel like I made good use out of Corv's abilities this season. Anyways, they are gonna transform into Ghost type on the Roost. I'm gonna Focus Blast. They are gonna U-turn. I did almost just Draining Kiss there, but it's fine. I am going to Draining Kiss now though, which brings Donphan down pretty low. Corv is gonna come in. Is this where I let Corv die? He's gonna Endeavor, yeah. So he will get off the Endeavor. I could have maybe went Pyro there instead of sacking Corv, because I think having a Mon be asleep against Darkrai is like good for me, but I don't really care too much. Because I think at this point, like, Pyro just kind of revenge kills everything. So yeah, I am going to let Nidoqueen go down here. And I'm going to switch into Pyro, because at this point, like, if I can win the speed tie against Ditto, Pyro just kind of wins the game outright. He's going to Scorching Sands, though, which does kill me, unfortunately. But I am going to be able to bring in my Enam. Overheat is just not enough to knock me out. Honestly, though, I hard considered sacking Val here, just to get back in Enamorus and Draining Kiss. But I had a feeling I'd just live, so it's fine. But yeah, he is going to Mega Evolve the Meganium, and he will Solar Beam, but it won't knock me out, which is okay because Val Val would have revenge killed with the P jab regardless. So yeah, GG's to Belgrand. Honestly, a closer game than it should have been maybe, or than I was expecting it to, because a couple turns ago, like it was at this point, like I felt like I was in decent position. Um, but then at some point I was like, oh, I could like maybe potentially almost lose if I don't play this right. But yeah, it was kind of a close game. So GG's to Belgrand. I don't know if you can make playoffs. I think you're like maybe 3-5 right now, but playoffs is top six out of the 10 of us. So maybe if you win big. And this loss wasn't that bad for him either. So I actually think that Belgrand is one of the coaches with more potential that I've seen in this league as well. Especially because they're coming off of like not even having like any high tier Pokemon. Like their only Pokemon above 15 points was Darkrai. And if like you remember, we were allowed three Pokemon above 15. Like they were basically like restricted. And the only one that they have is Darkrai. And I don't Darkrai isn't even like I don't know. Darkrai like isn't even like meta warping in any way. Um I don't think it's like a big winner Pokemon to be honest, but um I mean it's still good. It's just not like broken in any like it doesn't feel broken for sure. Um maybe if a Dark Void worked, but you know. So next week we will be playing Josh, who has this team of Terra de Dunsparce, Dragapult, Cinderace, Porygon 2, Landorus, Celesteela, Keldeo, Pheasantipity, my king, Pheasantipity, Serena, Sneasel, and Brione. Um, I know for a fact that he's gonna bring Fez versus me. Fez is really good into my top three. So I know that he has to bring Fez. So I don't know like if that's an advantage to me because I know exactly what Fez can do, but um it'll be interesting for sure. Um Truth be told, I am very scared of his Landorus. Um even though it looks like I have a good matchup into it, you'd be surprised how quickly things can go wrong against Landorus. And I know this because I've played Jaden many times. I've played against his Landorus many times. I've played against him using Celesteela with Landorus many times. Well, not many times. I think I played him once with my own Landorus incarnate. That mon's really fucking cool. But yeah, Celesteela's obviously also going to be a problem because it also just kind of walls my top three. Um, Keldeo could be a problem. It is slower than Ogerpon, which is nice. But if it's like Choice Scarf, then you know, like Ogerpon isn't gonna really get anywhere. Um, yeah, there's a lot. There is a lot to unpack in this matchup. But I will say I'm not giving up. I would like to win the last game, even if it might make my playoff potential worse, because he might know my like optimal sets. But um, it is what it is. And good luck to everyone in the upcoming week.